Salvete discipuli. Welcome to Lesson 34 Grammar. It's kind of like Lesson 33 Grammar. We focus mainly on comparison of adjectives, meaning some weird comparative situations and some even weirder superlative situations. So there are not a lot of whole new concepts here. Really, it's just about new forms. Okay, so first thing we're going to focus on are some irregular superlatives. That is too big, so I will make it smaller. So, here's the deal. If you have an adjective whose first part ends in ER, right, that is going to form a superlative in a different way from normal. It will not use the isomos for the superlative. Okay, it won't use that at all. That is bad news. Okay, instead of the isomos, it's going to add remus to the R. Okay, in other words, if I have a word like pulcher, which we know means beautiful or handsome, and I want to say most beautiful or most handsome, I'm just going to add remus to that right there, and you end up with pulcherimus. If I have a word keller, and of course the full dictionary entry goes like this: keller, kellerus, kellera. Okay, because the first part ends in er like this, to make it superlative, I will simply add remus to that right there, and I end up with kellerimus and this means fastest. Okay, just like pulcherimus means most beautiful. So, essentially, with words ending in er, instead of adding isomos, we're going to add remus to the er to get a superlative. That's it. Okay, now, how about another scenario? I need to make you go away. There you go. All right, what about if we have adjectives that end in ilis? Okay, for example, facilis, which means easy, or similis, which means similar, or difficilis, or difficilis, which means difficult. Okay, these adjectives, similar to the er adjectives, are not going to use an isomos. Okay, instead, for these, you're going to go to the L and add limus to make the superlative. Okay, so I'm going to go, if I want to make a superlative of similis, I'm going to go to the L and add limus to make a superlative. For difficilis, I go to the L and add limus to make the superlative. Alright, that's all there is to it. Okay, whoops, little typo there. This is how you say easiest, or maybe very easy, most similar, and how you say very difficult. Remember, there are different translations here, but that's the basic idea. I could have said most difficult if I wanted, etc. So, what do we need to know? Basically, the two things I just taught you, all you have to remember is this. Remus or limus can signal superlative. We already knew that isomos could signal superlative. Now you know to look out for remus and limus as well. So if you just remember remus, limus, and isomos are superlative, you're going to be fine. Okay? Now it's worth noting that with these illis words, not all of them will have the limus for the superlative. Like utilis, for example, still uses the isomos. But that's not that important to note. As long as you can recognize these three, you're going to be fine. Okay, what else for lesson 34? there are some words, adjectives, that end in ius or eus. Some of these adjectives do not form comparatives and superlatives with the eor or the isomos or all that business, or not even a rimus or a limus. Some of them, like for example idoneus, which we know means suitable, some of them don't change their form at all to make it comparative. They just add a word, magis. So this would be more suitable. So you'll notice there's no eor or anything like that. You just add the word magis and it means more suitable. This is just like we do in English, right? Words like this, if you want to say most suitable or very suitable, you're going to add maxime. Maxime idoneus means most suitable or very suitable. Okay, so really easy. So there are some words that instead of the eor or isomos, you're just going to have magis or maxime in front of it. And you don't have to remember which words do this. As long as you can translate magis and maxime, you'll be fine. And I'm sure you can do that. All right, one final concept, then we'll look at some examples. There are certain... Actually, you know what? I'm going to delay the concept. We're going to talk about it as we see our examples. So, here we go. I've got a series of sentences for you. 4 of them in all. I'm going to mark them up to help you guys through this. So number 1, we've got haec femina as a nominative. Similima is also a nominative. All right, our main verb is est. Okay, now, tuae sorori is actually in the dative case. All right, and we haven't talked about this yet, but I marked the dative with dots, black dots. Okay, so what does this mean? First of all, note the lim right here. Okay, that's one of our new superlatives, one of our brand new superlatives. So this sentence means this woman is very similar to your sister. You hear the dative? To your sister. Okay, now the question is, why is that in the dative? It's in the dative for one very simple reason. The adjective similar leads to a dative. Very logically, okay? This woman is very similar to your sister. Okay? It just naturally has a dative following it, and it was easy to translate. Let's consider number 2. Iter is going to be nominative. Facilimum is going to be nominative. We've got a main verb of erit. Alright, and there we go. We're going to discover that militibus and romanis are dative. Okay? So, the journey always will be facilimum. Note the lim in there. So this is another superlative, one of our limus superlatives. The journey always will be very difficult for the Roman soldiers. Okay? Very obvious. This adjective easy, I'm sorry, did I say difficult? Easy. Should be easy. The journey always will be very easy for the Roman soldiers. This adjective easy naturally leads to a dative. It makes very good sense. Very easy for the Roman soldiers. No surprise. All right, let's consider number 3. Amamus. And then we've got pulcherimas and feminas in the accusative. We've got illi feminae. Idonei is nominative as well. And sunt is your main verb. So, notice the mus here, people. That tells us the subject. We love very pretty women. Okay? Why did I say very pretty? Because this has got that rimus in there. Remember, limus and rimus are superlatives. So we love very pretty women. Those women are very suitable for us. Okay? Those women are very appropriate for us. So you'll notice a couple things here. I've got maxime with this adjective. That's what makes it superlative, very suitable. And then idoneus aum, which means suitable or appropriate, leads to a dative as well. Those women are very suitable for us because no be's here in the dative. So we've seen a few adjectives that naturally lead to datives. Easy, similar, suitable. All right, how about number 4? Number 4, the main verb is schemas. Then we have an accusative of nulas and feminas, and cupidiores modifies them. And there we go. So, this sentence. We know, this is a very inflammatory sentence here. It's very rude. We know no women more desirous, more desiring of money, or literally for money. So we know no women more desirous for money. So this is another adjective that's going to lead to a dative, Cupidus. Check that. I'm sorry. This actually just leads to a genitive. All right. We know no women more desirous of money. This is actually leading to a genitive. All right. Cupidus leads to a genitive. Looks like a dative too, but there you go. Now, most people aren't going to have trouble with this. They're going to be able to translate it without being fully conscious of the fact that Cupidus leads to a genitive and Idonius leads to a dative. If you just see this as a dative and translate it as such, you'll be fine. See this as a genitive and translate it as such, you'll be fine. Okay, that is all we have for today. I do want to point out two little things we should be aware of going forward, and that is that on page 195, you will see a list of adjectives that take datives, in the middle of the page. And I wanted to remind you all that you probably owe me or the Latin Club money. It's a Y. All right, you should bring in your money tomorrow if you haven't brought it in already, whether it's for the pen or Latin Club or the grammar chart. Okay, Wale Tedescapuli.